I feel like if you have been on the internet for the past decade, specifically on the horror side of the internet in the past decade, you recall a little guy, a little scrimblow, a little scrungly, a little blorbo called Siren Head. You know him, you love him. He blew up. I still don't quite understand how Siren Head became the phenomena he did, like, essentially overnight. And the thing that, unfortunately, you may not know, I'm sure a lot of you do. I have a feeling a lot of you do if you're watching this video. But he was created by an artist named Trevor Henderson. Henderson has been creating really cool art for a very long time, but in the past like decade or so, he really leaned into the kind of found footage, VHS, like creature in a photo aesthetic as an illustrator. He made Siren Head, a creature that has essentially become a late-stage creepypasta, and unfortunately, he didn't get the credit he deserved for this character. And I think it's come around. I think that now, you know, rightfully he is associated with it more so, but when the big boom happened, people were making knockoff toys and games and all this stuff, and it wasn't coming back to him as the creator. And, you know, I think that that is something that can happen to artists in this community. Illustrators and designers are often underappreciated and undervalued in the internet horror community, and that's why I wanted to make this video today, because I want to talk about an artist who I think could really be the next big thing. I think he already is starting to become the next big thing, and I don't want to see him fall down the route that Trevor Henderson did with Siren Head, because this guy's got a lot of little scrungly guys that I think it's kind of probably already happening to on like your TikToks and stuff. But, you know, the more people shouting out the creator, the more that the image will be associated with the artist. And that's what I'm all about here. So it's just a fun, casual video today where I'm just gonna gush about a certain Dr. Nowhere. So, hello. If you are new, my name is glitchwitch.jpg. You don't have to include the .jpg. You can just call me glitchwitch. And I make videos about spooky scaries on the internet. Analog horror, digital horror, creepypasta, urban legends, cool creepy art, all that sort of stuff. This is kind of a different one for me, but I would consider Dr. Nowhere to fall within the spectrum of the internet horror that I have covered. And let's just get into it. I mean, I'm just gonna probably flash some images up and throughout this, just kind of, again, it's kind of just the gush, kind of just telling you why I like this artist so much. And he does have some narratives going on and some stories. I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up making what would be considered an analog horror series, the same way that you've seen other artists do. I mean, like Darian Quilloy, who did Vita Carnis. He's an illustrator, started out doing illustrations, moved on to Vita Carnis. Our bestie, Urban Spook, is a painter. He is an illustrator, and he chose to make Urban Spook, so, or excuse me, Urban Spook chose to make The Painter. I know we all just call that series Urban Spook, but it is called The Painter. So yes, there is a precedence for this. One pretty fun one who's a good illustrator, and maybe should have stuck to just that. But I think that Dr. Nowhere has potential to expand into some fun narratives. Let me just scroll through here. This is kind of the post that made him, I feel like, really pop off. This guy is one of his recurring characters. His name is The Organator. See, I love it. And we'll get more into him later, but that was like, this is the post that has been going around, and I think has probably already left him a little bit in like TikTok and YouTube and stuff. Like, I've just been seeing this all around, like on even like meme pages and stuff, the same way that Siren Head or, you know, like The Intruder and stuff like that spread around. But I mean, just off the bat, if, you know, this is your first exposure to Dr. Nowhere, is this not just the most enigmatic little fella, The Organator? Like, he's kind of cute almost. He's very scary. The combination of, you know, video, filmed elements, illustrated elements. It's very simple animation. My cat is freaking out. It's been one of those days, y'all. If I could stick the Organator on my cats, I probably would. It's just, you're in. I'm sold. There's a world here. I can feel pulled into this existing world. And I think that that's what talent in an illustrator or any sort of creative can have. Is if you can build a world through just an image or a quick clip, that's very compelling. So, I mean, just scrolling down here, the images are just super unique. They're kind of scary, kind of silly, kind of cute. Really cool visual language going on here. He names these things and he gives them a backstory. It's very minimal, but you can feel how these things exist within the world of Dr. Nowhere. So these are the sun people. You know, look at that little face. Like, he's truly just a little guy. So this is the boiled one. I'm gonna get into him in a moment because this is one of the big narratives that's been popping up that I think is really interesting. But, you know, you can see probably the Trevor Henderson influence here of, you know, there's an image, there's a drawing. I feel like he kind of really brought that in, but I mean, just this drawing style is so unique because it's not realistic whatsoever. They're his own little guys, little scrunglies. And off the bat, before I get into any of the lore of these characters, I think the variety. You see, you have these more sketchy people, which I think is really cool. And then you have, you know, kind of more a character put into an environment, which is really cool and very scary. Oh, and it appears this is the Organator, and he got out. So I think just the variety is really cool. And, you know, the use of text is really interesting. Like, you just feel like you're part of this world when you pop into his page. Like, it's very realized, it's very self-contained, and I think that's really cool. Here's Soap again. His little triangle character, which I really like him. Thought this was one of the characters that made me start to pay attention. Like, I had seen the Organator video, obviously, and it's really cool, but I don't know, there's just something about Soap that he tugs at my heartstrings a little bit. And he's from the future, you can see. Soap at the top of the Mystery Factory, $56.99, colorized. Have you not felt like this before? I know I have. And I believe this is Dr. Nowhere himself, which is cool that that is a character within the ooze. So he's a kind of like a Hatman-esque creature. I love them fingers. Look at that. So let's just read this. Here's a little bit of info on this Dr. Nowhere sighting. So it's very SCP to me, the way that these little guys appear, and the Boiling Man that I mentioned earlier, he is very SCP-esque. So anyway, here we go. Dr. Nowhere sighting, ID 9976273. DT, traditional passing, body unrecovered, disappeared directly over security footage. Number of limbs, average, kept growing and shrinking in length so as to fit inside of a dead-end hallway. Face, question mark. Family, yes, so there's more. Location, local church. Victim disappeared after photo was picked up by detection lines and sent to office. Only outstanding anomaly present is the fact that the doctor appeared cramped inside of a hallway as opposed to being present in the usual wide field or high ceiling cathedral room. Security footage suggests victim ID 9976273 was in distress, running through the sanctuary and hallways of the church in an attempt to leave. Though the doors were unlocked, he made no successful attempt at opening them. No one was present in the church at this time. It is unclear as to how he got in or why the doors were unlocked, but nonetheless, this appears to be a pretty classic case. Courtesy of Dr. J.G. Henrett, Primary Research Director at Pasalis Research Facilities. So there's a story here, there's lore, there's things happening. There's a Patreon where you can get more lore. And I'm not giving you that, because I probably am going to sign up for his Patreon after making this video, but I'm not telling you because you have to sign up for yourself. That's exclusive content. Let's keep looking around. Who else we got? Like, this is cool as hell. That's really scary. Water tower with an eye that vaporizes anyone who goes beyond city limits. Like, that's great. And that feels like it exists within the same world as our Dr. Nowhere himself and the Orkinator. Like, these guys could all be hanging out together. Oh, here we go. So that is a children's show in this universe. Quote, The Happy Hungries will be a children's TV program designed by blank in the late 7000s. After heat, exhaustion, and famine take over the world, humans in a delirious desperation cling to generational childhood memories. The Happy Hungries follows Neff, a starving being made of nerves that has been skinned and hooked up to the void via cables made from his own nerves. His nerves are always growing, and each one has a mind and personality of its own, exploring the dark world and searching for food. Neff is always smiling and happy no matter what, unless one of his nerves does something that displeases him, which is often. Reading further has resulted in immediate physical brain expansion, and 90% of subjects do not search for answers. We will starve. So, I mean, it's just, this is literally, the Dr. Nowhere universe spans millennia, which I think is very cool. I would rather watch the Happy Hungries than the Teletubbies after, you know, having to look at Teletubbies for as long as I did for the Teletubbies Facts video. So yeah, here's a little meme with the Happy Hungries. This is a meme from 78 blank. We will never understand it. The caption for that one is, every grandparent's house is house to something that isn't grandparents. Which, what a emotion. What a feeling that maybe we've all had, going to like an older relative's house and things just feel kind of off. But then, you know, there's never actually anything wrong. But what if that guy showed up? What if? Again, just the world building is incredible because every single one of these things feels like they could coexist. And they're just little vignettes. Like, I applaud Dr. Nowhere's way of going about this, because if you sat to chart like a specific narrative, that can be really difficult. And I think giving these little vignettes into this world allows him a lot more wiggle room. Of he can keep just doing vignettes like this. If he wants to make a more fully realized story, he can. So I just think it's really cool. I'm very excited by all of this wonderful art. And I don't really have anything to say. I'm just sharing this stuff with you and kind of picking select ones and just experiencing them with an audience. If I did streams, this would probably make a good stream, but I ain't like that.
Plus didn't ask, plus a bag containing your vital organs will be found hanging by a meat hook in an unidentified restaurant meat hook room 600. Don't care, plus didn't ask, plus.
See, they're funny, they're cheeky, what a good time. I'm gonna focus now on two of his, I would say, the biggest characters in Orkinator video. And it's just fun. I love to see a character grow and, you know, be revisited upon, even if it's just in, like I said, little vignettes like this. Like, I don't know, the Organitor's just such a little scruggly.
Hello? What do you want? What do you want? Please go away. Please go away. Go.
So again, I mean, oh god, who's this bitch? Again, I just love these little peeks into this world and these characters, and I think that both of the Organitor videos are a great moment to talk about Dr. Nowhere's ability to build tension with these short videos. I think truly successful analog horror is all about the tension, and that's why, to me, like, Mandela Catalog has always been so effective, is because it's the waiting, it's not the actual, like, jump scare, and I wouldn't even call, like, what's happening here, like, jump scares. It's just kind of the resolution, the end of the scare. It's not, like, a cruel, like, blockbuster horror jump scare. The cruel part is the waiting. And that's why things like, you know, Skinamarink is the scariest movie I've ever seen. And I know a lot of people don't find it scary, but it's because, for me, the tension of waiting for the big scary to happen is scarier than the big scary. And, I mean, Dr. Nowhere does deliver with there being a creature or something that frightens you in the end. But to me, that ability to build tension and really just up the anxiety of the viewer is a great skill, and really what makes someone a talented analog horror creator. So, I mean, with all of these videos that he has, he's already a part of the analog horror creator sphere as far as I'm concerned. I need to make sure I keep gendering Dr. Nowhere as he, him, and I'm not sure. Their pronouns are not on any of their socials, so I apologize for that. I'm going to switch to just they, them, because I do not want to assume. So sorry, Dr. Nowhere, if I did misgender you. Not my intention. Like I was saying, I think the tension created by Dr. Nowhere is their strong suit when it comes to these videos. Because, yeah, the creatures, you know, if we go back to the Instagram and you just scroll, the creatures are spooky and scary. Some of them, you know, like Soap are not as scary as others, but, you know, that's a freaky ass thing. So, you know, to be more than just a spooky, scary face and be able to build that tension. Oh god. Oh, see? Dr. Nowhere's got jokes too. Anyway, what I'm trying to say is, to be more than just a scary face in this genre of horror is very impressive. I don't mean to bring up old Urban Spook again, but that's an example of, you know, a very talented artist that maybe isn't the best at wrangling the tension leading up to the scary face. Before I get into the next little creature that we're going to talk about that I believe is Dr. Nowhere's SCP attempt, just look how cool these are. Like, that looks real. And I think they're really effective. I think they really freak some people out while also, you know, delighting other people. Like, this doesn't scare me at all. I just am delighted by it, but then you look at the first comment and someone's saying it reminds them of a phobia that they have, so I think that's what's really successful about good internet horror, is that it can elicit multiple reactions from multiple people. Look at Soap! Soap's just a little guy. But there's so much emotion evoked with Soap. Like, look how sad he looks. Again, the combination of the images with the illustration, I just love it. Okay, let's move on. Let's move on. This is the thing that made me want to make this video. So, this is the boiled one. And if you know me, if you watch my videos before, Cognito and info hazards are very interesting to me. I made an entire video on them. So, this fella is a Cognito hazard. So I'm warning you, before I read the story or show you the video, the boiled one phenomenon is the Cognito hazard. And Dr. Nowhere just put it up on social media for everybody to see. Okay, I'm gonna show the video. And now I'm gonna read the story. The Boiled One phenomenon. A Cognito hazardous broadcast that intercepted a small documentary television channel during the early 2000s. Clips of footage depicting a boiled and highly disfigured person speaking an often intangible dialect would interrupt and hijack the program at random intervals. These clips, once viewed, would implant a permanent memory of the anomaly's face into the mind of the viewer, and when fully affected, the subject would become unable to view anything in their mind aside from the red face. More often than not, this drove people to insanity and redacted. But there were some affected subjects who lived on for several more years and eventually became affected by pseudocoma. The documentary channel has since been taken off the air and the Boiled Man phenomena has not occurred since. This video is shortened tape-recorded footage of BM Event 94. All anomalous effects are heavily dulled by the quality deterioration, but subjects still report visions and dreams depicting the face after viewing the footage for more than 10 minutes. Okay, I've been editing this now I started this part last night, and I'm trying to finish it now. I intended to have the video that I have already shown of the Boiled One phenomenon playing alongside me as I read the story. It crashes my entire computer every single time I try to place it. I tried to place a still image of him, crashed my computer. Worked fine when I just did the video on its own, but whenever I put it next to my face, and you know, if you've seen my videos, if you've watched this video, I put me and other footage next to it all the time. So yes, I know it's probably just my After Effects file, but there has to be a little validity in the Cognito hazard of this all. It's starting to freak me out a little bit, so A+, Dr. Nowhere. I'm actually scared. I hope you see this. Ignore my dusty ass computer. Like literally, I'm gonna delete the file because I can't keep doing this. So I'm sorry, King. I made you mad. I don't know what to say. God, my computer screen is close. I deserve this. Dr. Nowhere posted this on January 21st, so it's the 29th now the day I'm recording this. This popped off. Like, it was all over my Twitter feed. People were making, like, if I go to Dr. Nowhere, I bet that they've recorded or retweeted some. Yeah, like, people were making memes. You got the boiled one and the Organitor in one Fortnite pack. Like, that's so funny. People just really, you know, got excited by these characters, and there was fan art of the boiled one. Yeah, like, look, it's the boiled one having one of the SpongeBob ice creams. Delightful. He's just a little guy, perhaps. We got a boiled one and Organitor meme. People were just they were getting so excited about him. And he's scary, and obviously this was my favorite one. Someone drew the boiled one saying, "Poor guy, he's just misunderstood. I'd give him a big hug." And then Dr. Nowhere said, "Aw, the Sprinkles Blanc. So close. You won't wake up tomorrow, I don't think." Kind of in conclusion, I don't really have an overarching point. This isn't a video essay today. I just really wanted to share an artist that I have become very enamored by. I think that Dr. Nowhere has a lot going for them. I mean, they already are very popular. Like, on Instagram here, I'm looking, they have 117,000 followers. Like, it's not like they're some indie artist. But I just think that artists like this should be talked about just as much as bigger analog horror creators like Alex Kister, Martin Walls, and Mr. Manticore. You know, I think that Dr. Nowhere is right up there with them, and I would love to see more people approach analog horror in this fashion, with this really interesting world building and these little vignettes into that world that's being built. I just think that it's a really interesting approach, and I really can't wait to see what else Dr. Nowhere gives us. So please give them a follow, support their Patreon, all that good stuff. If you enjoyed me yapping, subscribe, like, comment, all that good stuff. If there's anything you'd like me to talk about, let me know. If you like me doing these little just kind of casual dives on artists like this, let me know. There are certainly others that I love that I would love to talk about. So, you know, thank you for watching. Thank you for supporting art and internet horror. And I hope you have a good day. And don't let the Organitor get into your house. But also maybe do, because he's just a little guy. Bye.